Hi guys, today I'm going to be talking about how to build up your confidence in speaking English if you've learned it as a foreign language. Coming from someone who's learned English as a foreign language, I know it's not easy and you're constantly doubting yourself, especially if you feel like your level of English is still not where you want it to be. And I've struggled with it for a while whilst I built up my confidence to speak English, but nowadays I find that I can communicate and I can speak to other native speakers of English without feeling too intimidated. I still would feel intimidated if I had to go and have a conversation with the Queen or Prime Minister, but I think that overall on day-to-day life, day-to-day situations, I feel very confident speaking English. The only times where I struggle still is talking on the phone, because although I understand everything and I know that people understand me, I still feel that pressure that I can't see the person that I'm talking to. So I'm hoping to give you some tips and maybe kind of point you in the right direction of helping you build your own confidence and to feel like you've got this, that you don't have to be scared, you don't have to be afraid, just by sharing some of my experiences and things that have helped me. So if you don't know anything about me and you've just stumbled upon this video, my name is Ysis. I'm originally from Brazil and I live in the UK. I've been living here for the last nearly 7 years now, and I learned English as a foreign language in Brazil. So when I came here, I already knew, I'd say 90% of the English that I know now. But I've spoken about my story and my background on previous videos before, so I won't bore you with the details again. I'll just leave my English language playlist here for you to go and have a look at my previous videos. They have helped a lot of people out there, which I'm really happy about. So I'm hoping to make some more videos which will be even more helpful to you all. My first kind of general tip to help build your confidence, to make you feel more comfortable speaking English as a foreign language, is to remember that everybody is going to make mistakes in every language, either it be English, Spanish, Portuguese. If you're a native speaker, if you're a foreign speaker, if you're a student, if you're a teacher, even if you're the most professional speaker of a language, you will still make mistakes. And so you're not going to be the only person in that conversation, in that situation, making mistakes, making grammar mistakes, making speaking mistakes, making kind of like pronunciation mistakes. I make mistakes all the time, and if they were to stop me from feeling confidence and carrying on a conversation, I would never have become fluent in English. And that is something that I think I had to accept before I moved on and decided, do you know what, even though I'm making some mistakes, it doesn't mean that I have a bad level of English. It doesn't mean that I can't speak English. It just means that I will get over these mistakes, and the people that I'm talking to, they still understand me, and they will. I think you have to remember as well that people are not as critical and judgmental of your own English as you are. That was a huge problem for me. I'm a big perfectionist, so it was a big issue for me when I knew I had made a mistake, when I knew that I didn't know something. I felt as though people were judging me just as harshly as I judged myself. So just remember that the majority of people are not going to judge you for your mistakes. Also, if you make YouTube videos and you put yourself out there and you're worried that people are mocking you, or that they're talking about your accent as being funny or weird, or that they don't think you know enough English, just remember that you're the only person that has the right to analyze your level of English. That other people's perception of your English doesn't matter as much. As long as you're happy that you're progressing, that you're doing well, that you're being understood, then that's all that matters. I get a lot of lovely comments from you guys on my English videos complimenting me on the level of my English and on my accent and all of these things, which are all really nice to hear and really important to me, because I've put a lot of effort and time and money into learning English as a foreign language and becoming fluent. So it means a lot to me when people say your English is really good. But I also get a few comments from people here on YouTube saying that my English is nothing special, that my accent is rubbish, that, you know, just people criticizing basically the way that I speak. I know it's their opinion and they're entitled to it, but it doesn't mean that I have to agree with them, and it doesn't mean that their opinion is the truth or that it's more important than what I think about myself. So don't let the fear of being judged knock you down and feel like you can't progress with your English level, if you know what I mean. My second tip is to stop treating yourself as a student. And that's something that I still do to this day, and I've got to kind of like stop myself when I'm doing it because it's really counterproductive. And what I mean by this is that sometimes when I'm talking to someone about something that I don't have a great knowledge of, I kind of give people a bit of a disclaimer and I say, oh, English is not my first language, and you know, if I make a few mistakes here and there, and although that does lighten up the mood of the conversation, it already brings my own confidence down because I feel like the person that I'm talking to is at a higher level than me. If I just believed in myself, that conversation would have flowed a lot more equally. It's not so much about how the person feels, it's about how I feel towards the person that I'm talking to. So I mean, in general, day-to-day conversations, it's fine to be humble and to say, oh, I don't know this, or I don't know much about that, or my English is not very good in that particular field. But I think as kind of like a way to bring your own confidence down is not a good thing to do. Don't kind of discard your own level of English just because you're a student and you're a foreign speaker. My third tip is to not play it safe. Try your best to use those words that you're not confident about because they are the ones that are going to give you the confidence that you need. Get stuck into the difficult conversations. Don't shy away from them. You'll have plenty of everyday basic conversations with things like, how are you doing? And what's your day been like? And what's the weather like? And what's your name? And where are you from? You need to step up and get out of that kind of comfort zone and go into questions that are a little bit trickier. To me, it was talking about things that I knew really well in Portuguese, but that I wasn't confident I knew enough of my vocabulary in English. Things like talking about law, which is my background, and talking about politics and something that I'm really interested in. I used to shy away from those conversations because I thought my level of English wasn't good enough to carry on a conversation on that topic. But now I find that if I just push myself and if I just dive into the deep end and ask a question on that topic and just see how I go, that I feel a lot more confident. I know that I've already had 7 years living in the UK, which has obviously boosted my confidence a lot and it's boosted my fluency a lot, but I'm giving tips based on the things that I think helped me the most to feel confident. My next tip is to pay a great deal of attention to the questions that you're being asked, because often the answers to these questions will be in the questions themselves. If you're talking to someone for the first time and they're asking you questions about yourself, about your work, about general things, and you're kind of like having a mild panic attack because you're thinking, oh my God, what if I don't know the answer to what they're asking me? Especially if it's something important like a job interview, just pay really great attention to the questions and you'll be able to find usually a little bit of the answer or a clue of what the answer is within the question. And to keep this short and sweet, I'm going to move on to my last tip because I don't want to bore you any longer. This video is going to be too long otherwise. So my last tip is to not worry too much about grammar, and I've touched on this probably on all of my previous English tips videos because I think it's so important to remind ourselves as students of English as a foreign language that grammar is important for building up your vocabulary, for building up your language in your head. But grammar is not the most important thing of a conversation in English. I think a good understanding, good listening skills, good pronunciation, all of these things go hand in hand with grammar. If you get too stuck on your grammar and wanting to get every single sentence perfectly, you're not going to flow in a conversation. You're going to doubt yourself a lot. You're going to think that people are not understanding you because you kind of like misplaced or mispronounced something. I still struggle a lot with the in, on, at. I make a lot of mistakes when it comes to these three. It's just a block on my brain that prevents me from learning. I used to kind of like give myself such a hard time for not knowing those three perfectly. Nowadays, I know I've probably made about 20 mistakes in this video with regards to in, on and at, and with regards to other things as well, but I'm sure that the majority of you have been able to understand me and even thought that I have a good level of English, even though I know I've made those mistakes. So don't get stuck on your grammar thinking that that is the most important or the one thing that you've got to get right. In most everyday situations, you're not going to need perfect grammar to feel confident and be understood in English. So that wraps up my tips on building up your confidence in speaking English as a foreign language. I hope this video was helpful to you, and if it was, make sure to give this video a thumbs up so that I know that you guys are finding these videos helpful, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss my future videos. And if you have any tips or suggestions of topics that you would like me to talk about or videos that you'd like me to make on the topic of English speaking, then leave it on the comments below and I'll make sure to check them out. I hope you're all having a great day, and I'll see you very soon. Bye!